the Howard County Board of Commissioners are now in session.
Have the pledge of prayer, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'd stay standing for prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we just ask that you watch over us, you bless us, and you lead our thoughts and our ideas as we try to do what's best for this community. We ask that you watch over the farmers as they're finishing up their crops and just keep them safe and watch over and protect them as they go about their day. We ask that you watch over this great state that we live in, that you watch over the great county of Howard that we live in, watch over the citizens and protect us and be with us. And we'd also just ask that maybe you could provide some peace in the world. We've got a crazy world going on right now, and just ask that you come down and provide the peace that we need in several places. And it's in your Son's precious name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we have special announcements recognitions. Mr. Finsky has some.
Yes. Years of service recognition. 5 years of service, Christopher Spain, Susan Woolley. 10 years of service, Jeannie Faulkner, Tammy Baker. 15 years, Michelle Harris. 20 years, Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy's here. 25 years, Priscilla Schaffner and Laura Rude. We thank them all, and we have a certificate for them.
Thank you. Yes. Moving on, we entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. They are approved. Departmental reports. Looks like we have Major Cook. You're first.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to come before you guys today with the recent ratification of the 2024 budget. The Sheriff's Office has, we have a vehicle line item that's been added back into the budget for 2024. I just want to give you guys documentation of some vehicles we have our eyes on for next year. Who or how many copies everyone needs, but there's 4 here.
Thank you. That's fine.
Thanks. Do these need to be acted on quickly? Are they holding these vehicles for you, or?
They're holding them. Yeah, Sheriff Asher signed off on it. We just wanted to present in the meeting and get it on record.
I know we spoke a week ago, I think, and pursuit vehicles are going to be hard to come by here for a while, and you found 3 on the lot. So
We found 3, and this is just part of the
I don't know how, but-
procurement process, and yeah, just making some phone calls and yeah, I just want to share with this panel, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Were these the 3 vehicles we had talked about previously?
Yeah, these are 3 pursuit vehicles, Durangos.
Are these replacements or additional?
They would be additional, but then we have replacements that would fall off the back end. This is at least 3 that we need for our fleet, with the anticipation of passing off vehicles to EMA, or we just auction them, send them off, we have to get rid of them. So we can find vehicles that aren't going to be too much of a burden for EMA, we'd like to hand them down, but we have some that have been nickel diming us, so we don't want to send our problem within this end.
Okay.
Any questions? You have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Major. Moving on, HR, Gary Rinker.
Hello.
Hello.
My first item is the county YMCA policy. I would like to revise the requirements for full-time employees. Currently, you have to be enrolled in our health plan and participate in our wellness benefit. And I'd like to revise that to just be enrolled in our health plan or enrolled in another health plan through your spouse or another carrier, and just providing proof of insurance for that. Gives more opportunity for more people to participate in the incentive, and healthy employees are good employees.
Right.
I'd make a motion to revise the YMCA policy.
Second.
Motion second to present it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank
That
you.
is approved.
Next is in regards to benefit time. So for our personnel hours and our sick time are not currently prorated. And so I'm proposing that we institute a prorated schedule for those, have it included in the handbook so it's clear to department heads and employees when personal time and sick time is received.
What would this do, Carrie? What would
So
this do?
currently, so anybody, a full-time employee receives personal time immediately upon hire. But a person hiring in February receives the same thing that a person hiring in October does. It's not prorated. So prorating it will even it out so that there's not an excessive amount given to somebody
Okay,
towards the end of the year.
I'll make the motion to make that modification.
Second.
Motion second to make that modification. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved.
Thank you. The next one is then the vacation benefits. I am proposing the addition of an extra week of vacation for employees that have 20 years or more of service with the county.
And if I think we talked, and this is the way it used to be,
Yes.
so we're just going back.
Right. Currently, right now, a full-time employee maxes out at 10 years, and you don't receive any extra vacation or PTO benefit past 10 years of employment.
And this will keep us competitive in the market. I'll make that motion to revise that policy.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
And so the final item then is also changing a couple of things with vacation time. Currently, new hires receive vacation time a half day starting the month following their hire month, and they earn a half day every month for the first year. I would like to change that back to not receiving vacation time until 6 months, and then adding a prorated schedule for that time, for the same reasons as prorated schedule for sick and personal time.
Okay.
I agree. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
That's all I have. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Moving on. Maintenance, Bill Stone Street. Oh, there he is.
Good afternoon. I have two requests. These are end-of-year things I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but I have the money, so I'd like to do them. One is at the Howard Haven, the ejector pit. The control panel is old. It's been through a tornado. It leaks. It's got 25-year-old capacitors, motor starters, everything else in it. And I'd like to replace it. We've replaced all the pumps, and we've replaced all the pump floats and all that good stuff. So I think it's time to replace that. QPH has bid us a cost of $7,450 to replace that control panel. It's a fair price. Also, I have a second item I'd like to pay for out of the same line item. I can present it as a group if you'd like. There's one shot deal here.
Sure.
It's a fire alarm panel right across the street at Just Stout. It's 1970s technology. Very, very old. Elwood Fire has proposed a replacement panel for that for $7,261.36. We can also do a lot of much needed upgrades over there with this new panel. So the first one would be QPH doing the ejector pit control panel, $7,450. The second, Elwood Fire and the control panel for Just Stout, $7,261.36. And I would like to pay for both from Coomcat Building Repair, $1138.47241.
So moved.
I will second that.
Motion second approved as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Highway Department, Amber Toll has her annual bids.
At this time, I would just like to seek approval to advertise for our annual bids. So our schedule would be that we would advertise for the annual bids. They would be due on November 20th. We would take a couple weeks to review those, and then we would award the first meeting in December, which I think is the 4th. And so these are our normal annual bid items for precast and pre-stressed beams, asphalt emulsion or tack, asphalt, stone, equipment rental, and diesel fuel.
Guess it's time to get those out, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I'll make a motion to allow Amber to go out for the annual bids to be received November 20th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved.
All right.
Thank you, Amber. You need a signature.
As soon as that corn came down, people quit complaining. On the other side.
Good.
Made a big difference.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Jennifer Brower, Howard Haven. Looks like she has a new resident.
Hi there, I'm just here to get Ann Daughtery approved to reside at Howard Haven.
Okay.
She is a Howard County resident and is a private pay.
Okay.
If you guys can sign this back page. 90 days.
Okay. We need a motion to do this.
We need to approve this, right? I move to approve the new resident at Howard Haven.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the new resident. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's approved.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jennifer. All right, starting a new business. Looks like Area 5 update, Linda Johnson. There she is.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd like to just correct one note for you. And I laid our letter of intent as well as my business card up there. We are no longer with Area 5. A year ago, we took this program from them and merged with our sister program in Anderson. So we have an East and West Division. We're the West Division. We cover 8 counties total. We cover 5 here in the West, one of them being Howard. I'll walk you down and walk you through some of what we do. We're not a stranger to your group, but we may be to you specifically if you're new in the last year or so. Paul Wyman was very good about always sitting with us and discussing with us and supported us a year or so ago with a donation of $10,000 through, I believe it was probably the COVID, our monies on mental health. I'm not just exactly sure what monies he had access, but he did give us a $10,000 donation, 5 for 2022 and 5 for 2023. So we really appreciated that. So now we're coming back. This is a request for 2024. We go around, I specifically, Alicia, the director now, helps me as well. We go around to all the commissioners and councils, all the mayors and city councils, as many foundations that there are throughout the 5 counties. We have a budget next year for $236,000. Let me come back to the dollars here in a minute, but what we do, we are a nonprofit agency with an Indiana Supreme Court program that provides guardianship for elderly and incapacitated adults throughout our counties that we serve who have no family or no appropriate family or friend able to step up and do that. They may have been exploited by a family member, and APS may have called us with a referral, They may be simply referred from the community, their next door neighbor, that, gee, it looks like Jane Doe's not living too well and not had a lot of attention. I'm not sure if she's got food. Could you check it out? It can be as simple as that. We've had calls from Howard community several times and worked with patients that they've had dropped off that has not had family, and we've taken them on and helped. And the list goes on. Overall, we have had 20% growth in over the past year, so we continue to grow. Starting out with 0 clients back in 2018 with Tipton County, we added Howard and Cass in 2019, and Fulton and Miami in 2020. That's how we segregated in and grew to the 5 counties. If you look at our letter of intent, which is just some definition for you, and our goals, our impact, our results, we partner with all entities of the communities. We don't, make the front page of the paper most of the time. We do once in a while during this grant writing, fundraising season, if you will. But, back in 2019, we took a distraught young lady off your streets, and she's now much better for it, 3 years stronger and going on her 4th year. We had another example story, how we intertwine and how we give back and how your dollars turn around to benefit the community. We had a young lady at 58 years old that was confused and would often call the fire department to come pick her up when she'd fall. She didn't have anyone to help her, bring her a blanket when she couldn't get up, etc. She called the fire department 911 83 times in 10 months. When you figure out the dollars associated with sending out a full unit, that added up to lots of money. So they were thankful that we came in and proceeded with guardianship and to assist her, and she's thriving well in a group home and is no longer a threat to herself, living on her own in the community, and is no longer costing undue dollars and expenses unnecessarily for the community. So with that, if you want to, I'll just run down a little bit through the numbers quickly and get out of your way. But if you go to the middle there, we're total referred. Howard County is 40% of our client referral base, leading the 5 counties. This year we have 10, and I want to remind you, these numbers, and this was put together July 1st. We've added some since then. But we do this from July 1st to July 1st so that we can stake a ground, and we start canvassing and speaking out to different groups, trying to hit ahead of their fiscal budget. Sometimes we miss it. We know budgets get approved at different times, but we try to get out and do the best we can with our low staff. But at the time that these numbers were put together, we had 10 living appointed clients. We had 7 so far that had died this year in Howard County. We had completed help on 45 clients for a total referred base of 71, and that included at that time then 9 pending cases. Now, we are by law, and like I said, this program is out of the Indiana Supreme Court. It was approved back in 2012, 2014. The Indiana Guardianship Office, State Office was put into place in 2014. So we are required by law to do the least restrictive alternative, to least restrict the people as possible so they can have as many rights and freedom and daily living as happily as they can. In other words, if we can get someone a POA, or if we can place someone in a facility and not go through appointed guardianship, that is a lot of our time and our due diligence. So that's why you see the referrals and the helped numbers are larger than the appointed. The appointed, remember, includes along the way those that are deceased and those that are pending. So, over time, different ones have asked me, well, how do you know how much money to ask for and how much does it cost per person? Well, golly geez, if somebody's in a nursing home or in a group home, that's a whole lot different than if somebody's in their own personal home and we're trying to monitor and watch over that person. it's very, very difficult to figure out what it costs per person. But what I have done, since we now have going on 7 years here of data, I have taken the budget for next year at $236,000. That allows for us to continue to share some of our staff. We have 7 total between the East and the West. 3 of us are part-time, and the 2 directors are full-time and 1 case manager full-time. So we then are able to share some of the cost. We share the accounting manager, even 2 of us, the CEO and myself as development coordinator, we share our salary between the 2 divisions. That helps keep our costs down. But looking at the budget going forward, we need to hire another case manager full-time for Howard and Tipton counties. We need to hire a full-time volunteer recruiter and manager between the 2 divisions to be shared. So our budget's up to $236,000. If you take 40%, again, trying to look at the chunk of the referral base and how those percentages are divvied out through the counties, 40% is Howard County's use of our program. So 40% of that budget is $94,400. Even if I divide that by 4 between you commissioners, the mayor, the hospital, and the foundation, that's still $23,600 apiece. And I'm not here to ask you for that much, no way. What we have asked for in the past has been $5,000 each year by our contributors. However, going forward for 2024, we need to bump that up to $7,500. And as I had mentioned, Paul was gracious enough to help us get $5,000 for 2023 and 2022. So that my ask tonight is that you consider helping us get a $7,500 donation from you for 2024. That does not have to be paid out today, of course. We're asking if you could to vote on that and pledge that so we know what potentially is coming. I am not 100% familiar with where your budget is approved, but working with 5 counties, well, actually 8, because I do work with the East counties as well. They all take the funds out of their edit funds, which is their own determination of how they're expended. So they usually have no problem whether the budget is totally approved or not, deciding whether or not how much they can support. But you guys are the ones to make that determination. And any appropriate time after January 1st would be great for you to send us the funds. It wouldn't have to be in January, it could be February. I can get with Jessica, we can keep in touch, I can send an invoice for that, so on and so forth. But tonight, I wanted to refamiliarize you with who we are, what we do. We're maybe a little silent partner out here, but we try to do a great service for your most fragile population. So again, the ask is $7,500. Any questions that I could answer or?
So Tipton, Cass, Fulton, Miami County Commissioners, have they given you funds?
Yes, yes,
They've already committed to?
yes. Some of them had in their budgets 5,000, some of them have bumped up to 7,500, and they know coming next year. What we're being told, I want to share this with you too, what we're being reminded and told over and over from the state, our leadership is IOCS, Indiana Office of Court Services, out of the Supreme Court. We are constantly being reminded, in our directors' meetings that come 2025, our funds may become pretty depleted. We are able to write a 2-for-1 match grant out of the Indiana Supreme Court. So again, your dollars being part of that match. If we raise $60,000, we in theory could write a grant for $120,000. However, they have a cap at $75,000. But we're reminded over and over those dollars may be depleted and pretty well gone come 2025. Part of the insight is for that is that we have 20 of these programs across the state covering 52 of the 92 counties. And I did not hear of any new counties being folded into these existing programs for next year. And I have so everybody's growth is growing. I mean, their programs, their need is growing, so the funds are dwindling. And I also, while he didn't exactly say it this way, I have underlying understanding that when this was started in 2014, when the state office was started, so many dollars, we see they spend $1.3 million every year out to WE programs through that grant process. I'm sure they set it aside maybe in an endowment, something that would grow, but we'll keep using that. It may get depleted at some point, raising a concern of whether they'll have dollars left there. And I don't know who determined at the state level how much money and how it's set aside. And so we're just being told to continually ask your communities for support, broaden your donor base. We're working on the next tier down as fast as we can, which are our providers, our nursing homes, our group home companies, on to that level to dig in and help support us as well. So thank you for your time. If there's any other questions, I'd be glad to answer.
I appreciate the fact that you broke your numbers down into the support that you give Howard County, because that helps.
Sure.
We want to see where the funds that we give out go for Howard County residents.
Absolutely.
And so thank you for doing that.
You bet.
And the money that the county, and it's the county money that you get, the money that the county has given you historically, it's good to see that's going to Howard County residents.
Absolutely.
And having a history of working with mentally challenged and incapacitated adults, I know how important the services that you provide are.
Thank you. It is very important.
It is.
And very sad cases, and most of these folks are ones that will fall through their cracks
Yeah.
and not get taken care of, live on the streets, have trespassing orders against them because they don't know where to go and they don't understand, etc. So if we can take them under wraps, it helps a little bit of everybody,
Having
particularly
been
gives them
case
quality of
manager
life.
for the mentally ill, the
Yes,
seriously mentally ill, I understand some of what you guys do. So, and I truly appreciate what you do.
well, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So,
Todd. I'm glad that you do.
With that being said, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the $7,500 for guardian advocates to be paid in 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved.
Thank you so much. And do you guys work in the same fashion as all the other commissioners that, Jessica, I would get with you and get you an invoice in January?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Coming out of her money.
Straight out of your raise,
Right
right?
on her budget.
We thank you very, very much for your support. Have a good evening, folks.
Thank you. Moving on, the 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting schedule. That, I think, might have been, is in the packet.
Yeah.
Just need to look that over and
I
approve
make a
that.
motion that we accept that.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the Board of Commissioners meeting schedule for 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Moving on, the 2024 Howard County holiday schedule. You have that in front of you also.
Move to approve the 2024 holiday schedule as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the holiday schedule for 2024. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Next thing I have is the 2024 Humane Society contract. Alan, have you looked this over?
I have,
Okay.
yes, it's fine.
Are you good with it?
Yes, I'm good with it.
No changes?
It's essentially the same as it was last year.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, are we closer to having a countywide Humane Society ordinance? There's been several meetings over the years, and Richville was going to be involved, Greentown, city, and the county.
I have a draft of an ordinance prepared to share with Bruceville and Greentown, and with Copeland for that matter.
But this is just still our standalone.
That's right. That's right.
The meetings we've been having with the Humane Society, the Sheriff's Department, those have been fruitful, so
I've seen that, and I approve that. I thought they'd come a long way.
I would move to approve the Humane Society contract.
Second.
Motion second for the Humane Society contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved also. I don't know what do we need from this, but, let's see. Moving along, claims report, salary claims.
We have two, for October 20th, $939,486.44. For November 3rd, $945,526.21.
Move to approve both as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the salary claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Let's get that around for signatures. Next, payroll expense.
For 10/20, it is $939,486.44. For November the 3rd, $945,526.21.
Move to approve both as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I'm sorry, opposed? That is approved. Operating claims.
$3,673,867.24.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved also. And any claims to ratify?
None.
How about monthly reports?
I have the county treasurer's monthly report, month ending 9/30/2023.
We'll show that as received. Any grants?
None.
Those. All right, moving along. County attorney issues.
First, I have a proposed resolution authorizing the transfer of property from the county to the Indiana Economic Development for the Fusion 2 project.
Okay.
We need a number for that.
Or is it a resolution?
Yes.
Sorry. BCCR-17.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2023 BCCR 17.
Second.
Motion second, adopt the resolution BCCR 17. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved.
Mr. Brady, there's a resolution authorizes you to sign for the commissioners on the agreement. If I can get your signature on that. Please.
You just close it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. All right. Okay, yeah.
Need a motion to him to sign that, Alan?
It was in the resolution authorized him to do it, so I'd like to have a motion for it too.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve my signature. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved.
I have a second resolution establishing the intent to conduct a commissioner's tax certificate sale. Is that 18?
Yep. 2023-BCCR-18.
Make a motion to accept 2023 BCCR 18.
Second.
Motion is second to accept BCR 18. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved also. Anything else, Ms. Wilson?
I do.
You do? All
I
right.
have a third resolution, 2023 BCCR 19, by which the county is purchasing a brush truck from Taylor Township for $4,000. We just need a
I think you already signed it.
statute allows us to do that from a governmental entity if we have substantially identical resolutions, and that's what this is.
I would make a motion to accept resolution 2023 BCCR 19.
Second.
Motion is second to accept resolution BCCR 19. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Okay, anything else, Ms. Wilson?
And the last thing I have is We established the redevelopment commission, and
Oh, yes.
commissioners had their appointments, and then one school board or school member has to be appointed. We've got a certificate here for Joey Dyer for that.
Jeff, you signed that down.
Sorry. Just need a motion to,
I want to make a motion to accept Joey Dyer from the Western School Board to be a member of the Redevelopment Commission.
Second.
in a second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's approved.
That's all I have.
Anything else, sir? Commissioner issues, I think Commissioner Dodd has at least one.
I do. On November 3rd, I held a Township Assistance Appeal hearing for Juanita Triplett and the Center Township trustee. After hearing all the testimony and the township guidelines, I'd make a motion to uphold the denial of the trustee and agree not to give the aid. Fortunately, all the information was not turned in to the trustee. So I'll make a motion to uphold the denial.
Second.
Motion and second, uphold the denial, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Anything else, Commissioner Dodd?
No, sir.
Commissioner Pinsky?
Mr. Wilson went to a court hearing on the Stevens property on Hickory Lane, and I'll let him maybe speak briefly about that.
Mr. Stevens and his wife appeared for the scheduled hearing.
Goes now on.
You guys need to sign.
They explained that they were attempting to clean up the property as we had asked them, and as the court had ordered them to do. Unfortunately, they suffered some serious personal family issues that have kept them from doing as much as we would like. Requested that the court allow the county to go in and inspect the property, and the judge has agreed to allow the county to go in and inspect just upon reasonable notice to Mr. and Mrs. Stevens. I asked for a reappear date to check on the progress in December, but the judge felt that that would not be appropriate during the holiday season, so we have a reappear date in February. So we are keeping track of that progress, and the county is now able to go in and check for itself by going onto the property and checking the progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir? We have nothing. Public comment. We have a gentleman, we have two people raising their hands. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Got three.
Okay. On the resolution that you passed to do a commissioner certificate sale, the commissioners have to set minimum bid for the properties that are going to be offered. What you're doing is you're assigning these certificates to the winning bidder at the sale. According to statute, the amount has to be less than what was offered at the tax sale itself, but at least high enough to cover the cost the county incurs for doing the sale. My suggestion would be any of these properties that have a delinquent tax at the time of the sale of $500 or less be offered at $50, and anything over $500 be offered at $75. I also suggest that commissioners approve the auditor to work with us on sending out flyers to adjacent property owners, informing them of the sale. A lot of times, the adjacent property owner doesn't even know the sale is going on, even though it's advertised in the paper. And it would help them improve the value of their property if they could take it over, especially some of these that are really dilapidated. You have 83 that didn't sell at the last sale, and of that, 38 have been on the sale 5 years or more. So as I'm saying, Jessica and I have both talked to buyers at the regular tax sale. They've shown interest that they're willing to buy these, but the amount is too high for the taxes. You've got some of these properties that the taxes exceed the assessed value, and no one's going to buy those when that's the situation. So I know professional buyers usually would buy up to 50% of the assessed value at the regular tax sale. That way, most of them know that they're going to be redeemed, but if they aren't, they feel they have a value that they can turn over and make some money that way. So again, I think getting adjacent property owners involved too is essential to get these back up into the current tax rolls and keep them nice for the community. Okay?
I agree with the part about the, and I don't usually comment during public comment because I don't have to. But I do agree with the fact sending the adjacent property owners. I do agree with that, absolutely. Because they potentially purchase it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we can get started with the sale and setting it up and advertising it, though, you'll have to set a price. So that's how whenever you want to do that, because we have to advertise it for 3 consecutive weeks, then wait 30 days. So it's going to be at least 2 months from the date that you set those. Okay?
Thank you.
All right,
You're welcome.
thanks, sir.
Jessica, what will you need from us?
You're up. He'll be up in a minute.
Tell us what you need.
My name is Jerry Paul. I'm the president of the Howard County Memorial Corporation. And before I get started, I want to thank our board members. We have showing here, so they want to be in on this, find out what the process is all about. Pretty sure they're getting an education, I hope. So basically, I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail because our public relations liaison, Robin Williams, will fill in the details. I'm not new at this. This is my fourth monument I've designed. There was a process with each one, and the first two didn't have to deal with government, it was just a done deal. Last time we had to get the grant, we got a hold of Patronicity and found out they had a $50,000 matching grant, and her name was Bridget Anderson, was the VP of Patronicity program. And she said, this is what you need to do. So when we got to the Opha May Johnson thing, before I got to you guys, I had to talk to some other people. So the two important people at the beginning, once we got their support for the Patronicity, was Sheriff Asher and Bill Stone. I'm going to get that wrong. Stone Street. So I wanted their opinion because they're a big voice. One is just over the maintenance and everything, and what his concerns were. He wasn't concerned as much about the safety as he was lots of green space, which we discussed, and it didn't think he was okay with it. Sheriff Asher, since he is the sheriff and security's right up his alley, we went through every scenario that you could think of. And as sad as I hate to admit this, I preach this all the time where people look at things, but they don't see them. And there was an obvious thing that I've been looking at, and I didn't see it. And so when this argument came out about the monument being a security risk, talk about what about the bump outs? What about the vegetation in the bump outs? What about the trees? What about the stairwell? Is that being inspected? The drone, is it doing anything? I left out southwest corner. There's big sculptures down in that elephant grass. Same situation where we got with Opha May Johnson. If Opha May is a problem, that's been around for a lot longer. So why didn't it wasn't a problem or anything else? Just Opha May is a problem. So after I talked to them and got everything I needed, the next thing was to make sure that you guys were on board. The two of you voted for it, one of you voted against it. when the money came up, all three of you voted for it. So, without getting all the details about all the paperwork, we were off and running. We started doing a fundraiser. Now, we were at a disadvantage because with the Women's Legacy Memorial, we had 3 months. It's still tough to raise $150,000. Now we're down to 2 months on this program. Doable if everybody steps up like they did last time. So right in the middle of this process, somebody says, well, we didn't get, apparently the security committee wasn't notified. So when that all shut down, everything slowed down, we called Bridget and talked to her, and she set up a Zoom meeting and to discuss the situation. So basically at that Zoom meeting was Bridget Anderson, the VP of Patronicity Programs, Megan Heber, Placemaking Environmental Review Manager of the IHCDA, which she'll tell you what that means. Mayor Tyler Moore was there, I was there, Robin Williams, our vice president, and Blake Dahl was there. So basically, she ran the show, everybody had a say, and I waited till the very end. I basically asked you two gentlemen, who authorized this committee, where'd they come from, and who gave them the power to make policy? And I think you said that you never heard of them. You said something like, but you were kind of like, not sure where did you know there was even a security committee?
I wasn't at the time, but wasn't made aware that there is a committee.
And Commissioner Dodd, he didn't say nothing because he's probably in the same boat, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Lipinski probably didn't know about that either. So we just, when I asked you that, you guys couldn't come up with the same answers because nobody knew where they came from. So then I was informed that there's a security committee, and I'm not sure I got everybody right, but I know Bill Longstreet didn't know nothing about it. Commissioner Lipinski, are you on that committee?
I've recently been told that I will be part of that committee, yes.
Okay. 5 courthouse judges. Mr. Wilson. Sheriff Asher. I leave anybody out? So, here's what my problem is. This should have came up before you ever signed the papers. And if you didn't know about it, you just didn't know about it, but the timing wasn't really good. See, gentlemen, I don't have a problem with somebody looking at something and going over every aspect of what they think is a safety issue. What I do have a problem with is that they're a policy-making committee. They're going to tell you exactly what they want, and you're going to go along with it. Instead of them being an advisory committee, they can tell you everything they got and let you three gentlemen make the decision. And I still hope that we'd have your support. So that I have a problem with. And the language, and I got a copy of the open door policy. I read it and I highlighted all of there's some iffy language in there considering what that committee's all about and what they expect from the state level. I'll let you guys worry about that. But basically here I'm asking you tonight to made an obligation, and I'd like you to step up and do the right thing. Our deadline for this grant is November 17th. Security meeting is November 18th, so we won't know nothing about it. The next commissioners meeting is on November 20th. There'll be other things to discuss then, so we're kind of in a time warp. So basically what I'm asking you tonight is to live up to your commitment and get us the money before the 17th. The gentlemen, it's like this. Regardless where it ends up, it's still the same Opha May Johnson Memorial. And I made a promise, and I keep my promise. I made a promise to the Marines. I made a promise to our board of directors we'd get this done. And I think our past we don't have to tout what we've done. We've done a lot for this community, and I would just like to think that they support us. So basically, do you guys have an idea whether you'd pay that before the deadline?
You want your $10,000
Yeah.
on the, you want to know when you're going to get your $10,000 and your deadline is November the 17th.
Because the security meeting is not until the 18th, and then the next meeting here is the 20th. Here's the problem that it is. The mayor's also withheld the same thing. And I wasn't exactly, the language was, but I was on hold because that conveys a message that the fundraising's on hold, and that doesn't help us any, especially when you got a 60-day thing. So that was not good language for that, I didn't think. So if you guys go on board, and we're pretty sure the mayor will go on board, because if you guys don't go on board, what's gonna happen is we're gonna lose $15,000 plus 2, because we're only gonna get what we can. The goal's 50, but they'll give us matching grant up to that. So if we come up, we're gonna be short. So basically, you saying no, it's gonna cost us $30,000. And that's gonna delay the whole thing for a year, at least. As for us, the way we do fundraising now, we got Robin Williams is a hell of a grant writer, and she's a good writer too, and she's been an asset to our group, and I appreciate her. In fact, she's my cousin, that's a bonus, I guess. But can you give us an answer tonight? Because you've already committed to it.
Absolutely.
We've given you an answer several times, and the answer, in my opinion, is still the same. You go back to that night, I tried to say, we need to talk to the courts, and you got very defensive, saying it's not their decision. So I tried to say it that night, wait a minute, I waited for you to talk, now let me talk. I tried to say that night that we should wait and talk to the courts, but you didn't want to wait. So regardless, we didn't. I've also told you that we are committed to the 10,000. We would even give you a letter of intent that we are committed to the $10,000. What we can't say tonight is where it's going to be, because the security committee still has to meet. And, you know, we've said we'll wait until that security committee meets. And we've given you an alternative to where the statute can be. So we are committed to support this. We've said that. I think all of us have said that.
Well, when you say, see, here's the thing is, when you gentlemen accepted that and you sent that letter to the state, to Megan and Bridget, that was the commitment that sealed it. That's basically, and Mr. Wilson might correct me.
Excuse me, Jerry. I'm Robin Williams. I'm the Vice President of the Howard County Memorial Corporation. On October 20th, very shortly after our Zoom meeting, all of us together with Bridget Anderson and Megan Hebert, it says, as discussed, we understand you need to defer to the Courthouse Security Committee, which will meet November 18th, and their decision will be reviewed by the commissioners on November 20th. We would like any details you can provide. And then it adds, the project must, let's see. Yes, the project still must meet its funding goal of $50,000 by November 18th. The financial commitments from the city and the commissioners to make contributions in the previously decided amounts was confirmed. So that was an email that went to all of us.
And we will give you a better commitment on that.
Basically already did when you sent that letter, it was signed by these two gentlemen to those two agencies, that you've already made the commitment.
Right. This invoice was dated 9th of October.
So is a letter of commitment that we are supportive of this project, does that not meet your needs?
They need to check.
I will have to talk to Bridget Anderson, and I will have to find out what that means.
When we met on the Zoom meeting, it sounded like a letter of commitment would meet those needs. That's the way it sounded to me.
But I'm
guess I
trying to
don't.
find out but you're supposed to, I'm sorry,
No,
sir.
sure.
I was trying to understand why we were asked to put in our invoice by the 15th, and it would then be decided by today, I think, was the date.
I'll just cut to the chase. I'll make a motion that we give you your $10,000. Absolutely. We committed to it.
Yes, we
It's
did.
already been committed to. I don't know why there would be a holdup on giving him the 10,000 we committed. I'm not committing to a location of the statue. I am committing to 10,000 that we've already committed to once.
Thank you. Well, we have momentum, and I think the momentum speaks for itself.
Gotta make a second. Made a motion.
I tend to agree with Jeff. We did make the commitment, and I'll second that motion. We need to give you the money so you have it out there. You said you'll go with whichever location. You're agreeing on that, right?
Well, that's the next meeting.
Whichever location happens with this meeting, and
That's to be determined.
I've been corrected. Lieutenant Pryfield corrected me. That courthouse meeting is the 14th, because the 18th is on a Saturday.
Oh,
Okay.
So
Well, that's
I
what
looked
we
at my
were
calendar, I'm
told.
like, that can't be right, and then all of a sudden he
Okay,
pops up,
then.
tells me, he said over there, so it's the 14th.
You second it?
So I got, yes, yeah. So I'll second giving the money to you. I mean, you're gonna, but you're okay with whatever location before we vote on it.
That's kind of premature because I really want to see what happens before we get to that point. And that'll be the next meeting. Because I talked to Scott Pitcher and.
See, what my point is, what I'm telling you is, if it can't go down there, then we give you an option. So it's gonna happen.
I think we will be open to working with you in concert,
Okay.
as indicated in the
That's
email
great.
from Bridget.
Is that what? Do you agree
There
with what
might,
she-
there might even be a better location than what the alternative is.
And that's true. It might be. Then the
Let's put
other-
it this
yeah,
way, gentlemen.
Exactly, then those two, yeah.
Unless I croak tomorrow, well,
You're gonna live
I
forever.
spent the day I spent yesterday at IU Med Center's emergency room, you might. But the problem is, when I make a commitment, and I promise the Marines, even though I'm an Army guy, the Marines need help. And I'm there to help them.
Sure.
But I made a promise, and I'm gonna keep it one way or the other. And if I can't fulfill it, she's way, pay grade's way above mine.
Well, since you're going with what Robin says, it'll go somewhere. You're in agreement with that.
Yeah.
So that's what we haven't heard from you. We've heard it from her, not from you. You just said it.
Well,
You're in agreement
She
with it'll go
speaks for us,
somewhere.
we're kind of an us thing.
I know, but if you're saying it'll go somewhere, then we need to vote on the motion and the second we have on the floor.
The next meeting will be a lot of clarification, things will be cleared up.
After the
But we
courthouse
really
security
wanna
meeting,
know.
yeah. So it'll go somewhere.
It's better to know that the meeting is occurring before the deadline.
Yeah,
than
and
after
I
the
didn't
deadline.
I apologize for that one. I was told the 18th up front, and then all of a sudden I look at my calendar, I'm like, ooh. And
We've
Lieutenant,
built a lot of momentum, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We have funding from the Community Foundation, and a lot of people, including the Lieutenant Governor, have endorsed this project.
I saw
and We
that.
just want to make
I saw
sure
the,
that we can keep moving forward. That's
Sure.
all. We appreciate you.
we have a motion second on the floor to approve the $10,000. All in favor, say aye.
Clarify the motion, please.
The motion was to go ahead and give the $10,000 that we approved earlier to them for the project. And they are in agreement that the project will go somewhere, not necessarily on the courthouse lawn. They both agreed to that. I heard Robin say, and he shook his head in agreement. Jerry Paul did.
And Jerry Paul's in agreement.
He's in agreement with that.
Tell you what.
Now, don't mess up your motion here. Don't mess up your money here, Jerry. Come on.
I'm gonna do something good for Mr. Dodd. I talked to Scott Pitcher, and I have an idea for what that street could look like, and I know what you want to do. I like that idea with the statues. I just want you to think about something. I'm willing to help you get what you want, plus you'll get 2 for 1. So I just want you to listen to me when that day comes. Like I
So
said,
right now, we've got a motion on the floor.
all right, it's already been passed.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
That motion,
Aye.
I'll say aye.
All right, thanks, guys.
You said aye? Yep. So it's unanimous. It's approved. We'll get your money. We have a drainage board starting in a few minutes, so we need to.
I'll be quick.
Okay, Mr. Simone, how are you?
Brad Simone, Eastern Howard County. I got 2 things tonight, actually.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to talk about the last commissioners meeting. We had an expert in here from California, which was ironic, because we got a guy from California promoting something that's not even allowed to be where he lives. So that scientist that was here, they're not allowed to have solar panels around residential homes in California. But he's here promoting that. Secondly, he made the comment a few times, I just want to reiterate what he said. The reason we can grow things so good here because of our soil content. I thought that was pretty funny that and he's right, because we probably have the best farm ground on the whole planet of this earth. So another reason it doesn't need to be covered with solar panels. And then NG said they do plan on testing our wells, just like the ordinance says. Those adjacent properties, nobody else. I'm not adjacent, never will be. And we're worried about contamination, and the ordinance is worried about damage. But I wanted to point out on November 3rd, Representative Mary Miller from Illinois was making trying to get something passed there in the House, had to do with subsidies for solar panels. She pointed out the fact that these subsidies are going to China, it's our adversary. And she said this, I don't want to hear this.
According to the EPA's own website, solar panels contain hazardous materials that are harmful to humans. I rise in support of my amendment.
So, once again, you want me to produce facts? I've got a freaking congressman saying what I'm saying. These things are hazardous to us, Jack. Okay, I don't care what NG pays somebody come in here and tell you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're not giving you facts. Then they don't have to. There's no repercussions for these guys to come up here and tell bold-faced lies, but it's music to your ears. There's no repercussions. I'm presenting facts. I'm getting upset because I feel like I'm not being listened to when we're making calls for people to come in here and make presentations. And if that's what it takes, I can get a professor in here from Michigan State. She's an environmental anthropologist, and she can come in here and do a presentation that will back my claims, okay? So then we'd have to make a decision, who do we want to believe? Somebody that's being paid for on either side, or we've got a congressman here that agrees with me. These are toxic and hazardous to humans. The ordinance needs changed. It needs to have well protection for a whole little radius there, not just adjacent properties. So that's my one. My second one is, and this is a whole different ballgame. So I went to training to work the polls tomorrow, okay? And I look across the room, and I'm telling you what, our elections are in trouble around here. These people working these things don't have any elections left in their lives, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but. So I'm asking you guys to try to figure out how we can entice younger generation.
Great question.
Okay? I have a suggestion. So we're there from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. for $120. So we got 13 hours for $120. We're not even $10 an hour. So I'm thinking that might be one way you can entice some younger people to come in, is to have a little bit more bread in the game, so to say. I don't know what that number is, but we put rates across the county employees and city employees and all that, but we skipped the election workers.
That would be an election board decision, just throwing that out there.
But I asked them that, and they said it was the commissioners that had to approve.
I think that they set
rates.
the rate and then you have to approve it.
So I don't know that, and you may be right, but it's just something that I think needs to be looked at for
It's a good observation.
future
Yeah,
elections,
absolutely.
okay?
That's a good
So,
one.
thanks, guys, have a great time.
Thanks, sir. Anything else? Gonna move into the drainage board here. Shoot, looks like there's somebody else. He's getting up.
Lee Oliver, 5768 West, 00 North South. It's kind of come to my attention that, and I don't know if it's true or not, just asking, that since there's a lot of veterans here, that the veterans office is talking about being moved upstairs. I personally would have a real issue with that because you have a lot, I mean, like Jerry here, I mean, it'd be hard for him to get up to the office, go through the elevator, stuff like that. Some, maybe in closed areas, don't like that closed areas, elevator, or can't get up the stairs. I myself, like I said, would have an issue. I don't know, I've contacted the VFW and I've also contacted American Legion. let them know. Hopefully, they'll get back with you guys to give their opinion on this, but, you know, to move that office on the third floor, from what I'm understanding, is not a good thing. I think it ought to stay on a ground floor to where they can get to it. If there's other areas, great, but I still think it ought to be on the ground floor to where they, you know, excuse me, have more accessibility to that office. A lot of them older than I am. I was never a veteran, but I just think that they need that access.
We appreciate your concern, but we have to look at space.
All those VA, all those guys using that VA too are probably handicapped, just like veterans.
I'm sorry?
A lot of the guys using that organization are probably handicapped anyway.
Right.
So, I mean,
Elevator is handicap accessible.
you know, never mind.
I think you're gonna go there.
We are so cramped for space that we do have to look at space. And I wish that we had lots of space, but we don't.
All right. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed. We're adjourned.